Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. As you've seen by the title, we're going to be talking about the state of Dokkan. Now, I'm not making this video because I believe Dokkan's dying or it's incredibly dry. Well, it kind of is, but you know, I know that there's content coming, there's stuff on the horizon. Dokkan's as good as it's ever been, and it's probably got years and years and years. They literally have content planned up to the 10th anniversary. Dokkan's all good. The reason I'm making this video is because recently on the Twitter timeline, I've been seeing some talk about how Dokkan hasn't really released much content recently. It's been quite dry. So I kind of want to talk about that and gauge a response, your guys' opinion, down in the comments. So while you're down there, let me know your thoughts, but also like and subscribe the video as well if you are new, and let's start discussing. So I want to quickly say before I do start that if you're currently getting bored with Dokkan, maybe it's not Dokkan. Maybe you just don't find Dokkan as entertaining or as interesting as you did a few years ago or a few months ago, and that's okay. Maybe spending less time on the game will be better for you or good for you. The other theory I have is maybe these are global players. You know, unfortunately when it comes to Twitter, unless they literally say it, I don't know whether they play both versions, just play global, just play JP. I'm not gonna know that. So maybe for us global players, and this happens every year, kind of from the start of year, like late January, February time, all the way until our anniversary during the beginning of July, we have to sit there and watch JP have their anniversary while we basically kind of play catch up. So maybe that's why some people are saying the game's been kind of dry, but that happens every year. You know, we're watching JP play with the big shiny new toys that we're waiting for while we have Tech Dokkan Fest Bardock or something like that. But in terms of some people saying that Dokkan doesn't drop content or as much as they used to before, I'm like, are we playing the same game? So I've got two celebrations, the most recent on global literally being the Tech Dokkan Fest Bardock. I didn't want to do any joint celebrations. Saiyan Day's a little bit above the standard Dokkan Fest campaigns, just a tiny bit. And Golden Week is above them clearly. You know, in terms of hype, if we had to rank them, you know, you have standard Dokkan Fest, you have Saiyan Day just above, then you have Golden Week, then you have Worldwide and Anniversary. So we have one, as I said, pre-anniversary, most recent on global with Bardock, and post with the transforming Kale on JP. So let's quickly take a look at some of the content that comes with a standard run-of-the-mill Dokkan Fest campaign. As usual, we always get special missions. There's a login bonus. We had a mini hidden potential activation campaign with Bardock. You know, usually and sometimes within some of the campaigns, we have other mini campaigns branch off, which is fine. Or there's some, you know, updates to the game, some changes, revamp to events. Some of that stuff pops up here and there. But we're looking at kind of the mainstays that come during every celebration. So obviously we have the Dokkan Fest, which whether you like it or not, a new unit dropping counts as content in these games. Then we have the likes of Burst Mode, which of course was put in the game, what, like a year or two ago? So essentially, for the last year or two, because I can't remember when Burst Mode officially was dropped, it officially released, we've had more during our Dokkan Fest campaigns than we've ever had. Like, it may not be too much, but it's still more than we've ever had. Then we've got the usual, the new Dokkan event. Typically, we get a new SBR or ESBR stage, or sometimes both. The Bardock celebration, however, had new missions for the Goku and Vegeta events. Then we have, of course, we already mentioned Burst Mode, a new Clash, we always get one of them. Returning Story Mode events, sometimes a reopening of a challenge event if it fits the theme, or again, a challenge event that gets revamped, or a growth event that gets revamped, or a growth event in general. There's also some easy areas that come back, new easy areas. And then another one that's been happening the last, year or so, is Strike Renewal Easy A's. Now don't get me wrong, they might not always be the best. You might not really care about the free-to-play Strike Renewal Easy A's just because there's so many new, like, big Dokkan Fest units, from LRs to also Golden Coin LRs or Yellow Coin LRs to also the Carnival LRs. You know, obviously they're not going to carry the same weight, but that is more content than we've used to get. Dokkan Fest campaigns have had more content than they've ever had in Dokkan, so I'm not really sure where the consensus recently has been coming about how dry Dokkan's been, aside from the global dry spell that we have until we have the anniversary, which happens every year, just because we have to watch JP have theirs while we have to wait and play with our old toys before Christmas or our birthday basically comes around. So we've had more content than ever. You know, Dokkan events come back, things like that. And of course, one of the biggest ones is we get an easy A with every new Dokkan Fest. For this one, and of course, we had the SSJ3 Bardock. And then we also had Collection of Epic Battles, which finally got updated after so long. But another one that we get, you know, every so often, more often than not, is a new Chain Battle. So most of them are the mainstays we get during every Dokkan Fest, like the standard run-of-the-mill Dokkan Fest campaign. And as I said, this is more content that we've got since Dokkan pretty much began. So in terms of Dokkan not dropping content, I really do feel like it's not what's coming in these celebrations. I feel like everyone wants a big new difficult event. Like if we quickly take a scroll through the KO campaign on JP, it's pretty much the same things. You know, a new Dokkan event, a new unit. There's some other things here and there, like the step up with the keys. There was a new quest mode because the game got updated during this part. Again, even more content. You know, new missions for Bulma's Wild Chase. There was a new easy area as well, aside from returning ones. There was also the likes of, again, another Clash. Easy 8 L Arcade and Khalifa dropped with this celebration. New SBR stage like standard. There was also the renewal of Bulma's event. Every so often we get a world tournament. There was also new Dragon Ball story being added at this point in time as well. And this one didn't have a clash. But this is the standard run-of-the-mill Dokkan Fest campaigns that we've got. And we've gotten for the last year, maybe 2 years. And I said, this is more content than we've ever got during the standard celebrations. Like, the standard celebrations are never going to have super hype content that the likes of Worldwide and Anniversary has, and maybe even such as Golden Week. But as I said, I feel like it's been a little bit misconstrued. I don't think people saying that Dokkan is dry right now has anything to do with the content they're dropping, because as I said, it's been the same. Why would it all of a sudden now be dry and Dokkan's not dropping a lot? Like, if you look at the back end of last year till now on both versions, we had the special celebrations, which were kind of anomalies around Dragon Ball Super Superhero, where we had, you know, the Gammas 2 Dokkan Fest on one banner. We got a whole new Red Zone stage around, you know, that fact with the Red Ribbon Army edition. Then we had, you know, Orange Piccolo and Gohan drop. You know, we've had more content kind of going from year 7 to year 8 than I think we've ever had. So again, I'm not sure where the consensus comes from. My idea is that I think everyone wants, as I said, a brand new, big, difficult event like Red Zone, where content is being made left, right, and center on it. It's now the new hardest in the game. Units are hitting for like more than Red Zone bosses are, and things like that. I feel like that's maybe what people want. And if that's the case, then you're gonna have to wait, because it's only the big super hype, you know, celebrations like Anniversary and Worldwide where we get those. And those are only released when a big new power curve is introduced and we basically kind of move on to the next phase of Dokkan. And if that is the case, I'm not gonna lie, I partially agree with you, because I do want a new event. It doesn't have to be more difficult than Red Zone. I would just right now prefer or want an event that is longer form content. It would help some of the units that are more fitted to that, like for example, recently on JP, which will be coming soon on Global, for example, the Dokkan Fest Super 17. He's a pretty good unit. At 55%, he's a bit meh, but with dupes, and if he was in a longer event, he could really shine and really get going, and I think he would get a bit more respect that he deserves. But we don't really have that right now. And they could have done that, and I feel like some of the disappointment has carried over from Goku Day with the disappointing news that we had nothing coming for it. I mean, there still could. You know, there's also a part 2 coming from, you know, Golden Week as well. But I feel like some people were disappointed because they kind of expected us to get whole new content for Goku Day. Now, that's not something they've done for the last 2 years. The last time we got a whole new event was 2021, when the dual GT Super Saiyan units dropped with Goku and Vegeta, and we got the Fighting Legend Goku event, the GT edition. So they don't usually do that. Don't get me wrong, I hoped they was going to do something. It just fit really well, because, you know, we had the theme of the 25th World Tournament. We had Goku, we had Piccolo Jr. They could have done a whole new event based around the World Tournament. Not the actual World Tournament mode in Dokkan, but like around the World Tournament. Or maybe in the style of the Fighting Legend event, or maybe even included it in this. You know, ramped up the difficulty a bit, longer content, and you could have faced, you know, all the characters that were in the World Tournament. You know, you could have had a Goku, you could have Piccolo Jr., Giant Form, You then could add Krillin, Tien, you could add Roshi, you could add all of these different characters that participated in the World Tournament, or maybe specifically the 23rd World Tournament, in a longer style event, or as like a newer revamped version of the Fighting Legend Goku event, but then make it a World Tournament version, you know, like maybe Fighting Legend World Tournament Edition, or just something like that. That was longer form, difficult content, nearish or somewhat in the region of Red Zone difficulty. Or, and I thought this would have worked really well given the Golden Week celebration, again, especially tying in with Goku Day. Goku Day, of course, starts from May 9th with Gohan, Goku, and Goten Day, ranging those few days, but Goku Day specifically is on the 9th. During this same arc, Piccolo Jr. turns around and says, today is officially Piccolo Day. Now, with the theme for Golden Week being the 23rd World Tournament, and us having a whole Fighting Legend Goku event, and this coming out on Goku Day 2 years prior, you could have had a whole Fighting Legend Piccolo event, and done a whole Goku Day, Piccolo Day kind of thing, you know, tie that in with Golden Week, and we could have had, again, a revamped version of the Fighting Legend Goku event, but make it around Piccolo, and you could have gone through all of Piccolo's forms, and it could have been a lot more difficult than what the event is now, and again, longer form content, which we don't really have difficult content around longer boss fights, and you could have gone through the different forms of Piccolo, and wherever they went up to could be entirely up to them, you know, stop at the World Tournament, or maybe use Piccolo's other forms. Could have done that. You know, you could have started at Elder Piccolo, you know, when he sits in the chair, then you've got Demon King Piccolo, then you've got Demon King Piccolo after he uses the Dragon Balls, then you've got Piccolo Jr., you've got Piccolo Jr. in giant form. You could have stopped there. Or you could have carried on and even used Z Piccolo if you wanted. It doesn't fit exactly well, but just because it's around Piccolo, it makes sense. Then you could have had Piccolo fused with, you know, Nail, Kami, even gone as far as Orange Piccolo. It would have been entirely up to them. So I really do think that was a missed opportunity, but expecting Dokkan to give us this whole new event in Goku Day, I feel like if you expected that, your expectations were too high. If you had hoped for it, that's fine. You know, I hope they did something, it made sense and it would have been dope. But I feel like if you expected something to come, then as I said, your hopes were a little bit too high, your expectations were too high, you were going to be left disappointed. But as I said, I do agree, we are kind of due and up for a new event, but I think constantly expecting one to come just whenever is unrealistic. As I said, these events mainly come during the super hype celebrations, such as anniversaries and worldwide, and when a power curve is about to come in and a shift is about to happen in Dokkan. So I'm still leaning more towards global players saying maybe the game's a bit dry. As I said, I'm not sure which player base is saying it or whether you're playing both, but naturally around this time on global anyway, the game is a little bit dry, because as I said, we watched JP have their anniversary, you know, they get to come out of that kind of high of the anniversary and get all the new Dokkan Fest to come in while we're still waiting for anniversary to even happen. So maybe that is the case, but that happens every year. And content, as I said, we've had new content during the standard run-of-the-mill Dokkan Fest campaigns. We have more content within those celebrations now than we've ever had. It might not be what you want, but Dokkan isn't a game that's been made to be played about 6 hours a day. It's not made for that. You know, you're literally meant to hop on, you're meant to do the new stuff they drop, grind a few things here and there, free-to-play stuff, do the new missions. If they do drop hard content, you know, you do that. It's not meant to be made, like, done completely. Like when Red Zone dropped, you weren't supposed to complete it day one. It was meant to be something you build up towards, then finally beat it, and it's incredibly rewarding. You know, Dokkan isn't a normal standard game that you play on your Xbox, your PS5, your PC. It's not one of those. It's not Call of Duty where you constantly sit in and play for hours, Fortnite, Apex, or I don't know, the new Star Wars game or The Last of Us. It's not meant to be played like that. Most of the gameplay aspects come from once you've done all the grinding stuff, you take those new units you've pulled, those new units, those free-to-play units you've grinded, the new Easy A you got, and you go and test them out across the game. You know, you use them, you then try them on the content that's already out, Super Battle Road, ESBR, Goku Vegeta event, Red Zone, all the different Red Zone stages. That's what this game is about. So if you're looking for something to keep you on your phone non-stop playing Dokkan, then that's not what you're ever going to get, because that's not what Dokkan's meant to be. But also I wanted to touch upon the fact that during the 8th anniversary, JP literally got difficult content, like a new big hard boss content. Now, I'm not sure how difficult it actually is. I've only seen clips here and there. I kind of wanted to keep it fresh by the time it comes out on Global's anniversary, and that was the Shadow Dragons event. And I know the fight or the stage against Shenron, I know he comes out swinging in terms of damage, and it can be very challenging. If it's harder than Red Zone, I'm not sure, but if you're a JP player, or at least play on JP, do let me know where it kind of ranks in terms of difficulty. But I know it is quite hard and quite challenging, and it is up there. I'm just not sure how difficult it actually is. So JP currently has that. So I'm like, if you're waiting for a brand new difficult event, we've kind of already got one, no? You know, and it's very similar in terms of difficulty, at least give or take, to Red Zone, I'm pretty sure. But that's just my thoughts. I'm not sure where the consensus is coming from. As I said, to kind of recap, you know, Global's always kind of in a dry state at this point anyway, just because we're waiting for Anniversary. We've watched JP have theirs. JP, you know, Conti gets the new stuff, never know what's coming. You know, we've always had Global hindsight. And we've had more content in standard Dokkan Fest campaigns than we've ever got. And in terms of Golden Week and the Goku Day celebration, we don't really ever receive big new events during that celebration anyway. It would have been nice if they did that. It would have been nice if they elevated Golden Week a little bit more, because it is above the standard, you know, Dokkan Fest campaigns we have. But unfortunately, that wasn't meant to be. And again, I feel like if you expected them to drop like a big new event during Goku Day, it would have made sense. It would have been sick, do not get me wrong, but it's not something they usually do. But I don't know, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I said I just wanted to gauge your guys' opinion. I do think Dokkan is fine, they're doing a good job. I would like a new event soon, as I said, longer form content. It's not something we've got. Or potentially, you know, a Red Zone style event that's against superclass enemies. You know, I would like something like that. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a good rest of your day, and peace.